Good afternoon, everyone. It's Anifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I have been contemplating this idea of liberation, or some would call it enlightenment, or some will call it salvation. And all of these things are from different scriptures, I'm going to say. So I'll say ancient scriptures often have talked about these sorts of words. And of course, in current modern day-to-day life, we hear about these words a little bit more often too now. And today I thought, I wonder how many people really understand what this is, because sometimes people are trying to get enlightened or trying to get to a particular place of liberation or salvation. It seems like this really long task of, okay, after you've been doing this for so many years, maybe you've been meditating for this many years, maybe you've been going to church for this many years, or this many experiences you've had, all of these things is often what people think of, and they think, oh, that's so hard to be so good for so long. And it's interesting that it can be much simpler. And today I thought I would try to clarify this more from a Vedic scripture perspective, and yet reminding you that all scriptures and philosophers and poets and writers have actually written about the same sorts of things and have had various experiences too. Mystics have been in this space. And again, today I thought I would try to clarify this in a different sort of way. And the first thing that I wanted to share from is this quotation from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is literally Bhagavad Gita. And this quotation says, because human life is a combination of matter and spirit soul, the whole process of Vedic knowledge is directed at liberating the spirit soul from the contamination of matter. The contamination of matter, isn't that strong words? Now, this is from a particular author who has written about this particular section. It's chapter 2, but I will, of course, quote that under this video on YouTube. And again, if we look at this whole idea of this liberating the spirit soul from the contamination of matter, why would we say that matter is contaminated? Now, to clarify, matter in this sense is referring to the body, the mind, the intellect, and this is all matter, it's material. And you would think the intellect, how is that? Like, isn't that thinking? Isn't that? Yes, it is. It is. So it takes spiritual soul energy to come through all of these pieces of matter to then allow us to see and experience our lives. Now, when we are looking purely from that spirit soul perspective, it liberates us from the matter through which we're even actually functioning in day-to-day life. And this might seem like, oh boy, that seems like it's a lot of work to try to figure out. I'd just like to figure out what my body is doing, what my mind is thinking, and that was enough. And for a lot of people, and maybe most of us, that is enough. There is a space that many of us come to that we feel like going just a little bit deeper, understanding a little bit more. And that going deeper is understanding that soul spirit space. And if we think about the body, okay, the body likes this, and so then it wants more of this, or it doesn't like that, so it wants less of that. But I like food and I want more of it. I like vacation, so I want more of it. I like a home, so I want more of a home, a bigger home perhaps. I like money, and all of these things are matter, and it's coming through our matter of our body likes it, but our mind likes it too, right? So my mind would have to like the taste of something to make me want more of it. The mind does that. Soul is just content no matter what. We have something we like, we have something we don't like. It's just the likes and dislikes are more from the mind level and not from the soul level. And so this liberating from the soul, I wanted to focus on, again, now we understand the mind and the body, but then there's the intellect. And the intellect is the one that makes sense out of things. It understands things. It's this space of reasoning. And it's also a space of judgment. And so we can judge others, we can judge ourselves, but this is coming from the mind still, from the intellect. And of course we feel so good when we can judge this is good and this is not good. Yet, soul does not have that. It seems like, oh, wouldn't you be losing something if you couldn't see this is good or this is not good? No, because when there's that full acceptance and trust and faith, there's going to be this space of trust and knowing that everything is right. So this is important for us to understand in this concept of liberation or enlightenment or salvation. So then I came across another quotation, and this is an interesting thing that I will say that it's actually because of my time in Bali that I had even more time to reflect on these things. And I got to see lots of spirituality around me in Bali, and it was very, very evident that lots of people go through things of rituals that's very regular, very daily, and there's kindness that is expressed daily. And yet, there's also this awareness of both earth, not both, all earth, um, the sky, the air, the space around us, animals, plants, and other people. And this whole idea is this space that opens up in ourselves if we allow it. And I'm not going to say that Bali is necessarily allowing it because they're doing all of these actions, because they might be doing it. People, some of them, some of us, do it because we feel we should. This is something that, this would be good for me to do because then at least, God is looking upon me in a really good way, and I'm being a good person. And this, of course, even in Buddhism, which doesn't believe in God but thinks of the universe, somehow would feel that this is something good that I'm doing, that I'm putting out into the universe, which is very true. Now, that space, that soul space that just puts things out for the sense of the good of mankind, for everything. So whether we're thinking about an insect that we're not killing when we see it, I can see this beautiful spider web just outside my door here, and I love seeing it there and knowing that if that spider comes into the house, I'm going to gently take it back outside. But seeing it out there, I like to keep that web intact. That, it's a lot of work that's been put into creating that web. Now, of course, there's also this understanding of why do we do the things that we do. So if this is the intention, if I want to save something, it's why do we do it? Because that's really soul energy speaking to us. So how I speak to another person matters. How I think about another person matters. How I think about that insect living outside. How I think about how I'm going to speak, how I speak, all matters in terms of why do I speak the way I do? Why do I think the way I do? Why do I do what I do? And again, remembering that all of the whys, because this, and because they did something nice to me, I'm going to do something nice to them, or because they didn't do something nice to me, I'm not going to do something nice to them. And in that, there is that mind space. And soul says, I'm just going to stick on the path of doing the right thing. That's all. No good, no not good, the right thing. And this is so beautiful. It's such a accepting space of ourselves as well as the world around us. And so I thought I'd finish with this quote, and this is from the Isha Upanishad. And Bali puts a lot of focus on the Upanishads, on Vedic scripture and the Bhagavad Gita. And it shows in all of the statues you'll see around, you'll see all sorts of images of gods and have so much sense of that spirituality. But how a person is experiencing it, even though all of that is all around, is only dependent on that person themselves. So I thought I'd finish with this quotation from this Isha Upanishad. And it says, "The enlightened one seeks no reward for his actions. He acts purely out of love and compassion for all living beings." I love that. So again, the enlightened one seeks no reward for his actions. He acts purely out of love and compassion for all living beings. Now we would think that, it's a beautiful space. Isn't that the place that all religions talk about too, right? That just do it out of being good. Just do good things out of being good. But many people, when they're working from a religious space, it's for that goal, the attainment of, and hopefully that will get me to heaven. Right? That thought is often at the back of people's minds who are working from really good spaces from a religious perspective. And that's good, and it certainly does motivate people and can inspire people, but it's not heart space. Heart space is connected to soul energy, and that soul energy only does it because it's right. It's right. So even when I'm helping a spider out there, no one needs to know that. Now some people will know about it, but no one needs to know it, and yet it's just right, and we just know that it's allowing life to live. And I love this awareness because again, so many times you can see that we do this in our day-to-day lives, that it's for a possible gain. It's, I'll do this because I might get this out of it. And again, doing good is always good, and doing not good is always not good. And at the same time, why we do it is a whole different level if we move into that spiritual space of the soul. So today, I hope that you will sit for 5 minutes after this video and just think about what you're doing and why do you do it? Is it to be seen? Is it to be known? Is it for popularity? Is it to gain something? And popularity is also a gain, as you know. Is it for that, or is it just because it's right? And I hope you're doing the things that you're doing because they're right. I wish you a fabulous day ahead, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.